From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
The natural beauty of Christmas.
We receive cuttings from all over the world.
How a Texas family has helped perfect the art of growing poinsettias. A shakeup for Democrats. See who will be the new ranking member of the House Ag Committee as Congress works to keep the government open while funding farmers in need.
We've been working around the clock to get the CR done.
The latest on what we're hearing out of Washington right now on AgDay.
AgDay is brought to you by Pioneer.
Ben's bins, please hold.
Yeah, Ben's has been busy all day.
Seems like no one can keep up with this new Z series. What did you all put in these seeds?
Science.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Another day brings new efforts to get the continuing resolution passed through Congress and to include aid for farmers in that plan. Farm Journal Washington analyst Jim Wiesmeyer reporting there now appears to be a plan to provide direct aid for producers along with disaster aid and even a plan for year-round E15. Now here's the latest breakdown. There is $10 billion in farmer aid to help producers cope with price declines and rising input costs. But at last report, it hasn't been finalized. House Ag Committee Chairman G.T. Thompson indicating $10 billion is the minimum he would accept. The continuing resolution is expected to also include provisions for year-round sales of E15 blend. There's also a plan for disaster aid for crop losses due to natural disasters for last year and this year for a total of $21 billion. Now, Jim tells us a vote in the House won't happen until at least tomorrow night, and he says that's if House Speaker Mike Johnson sticks to his plan to honor the rule of giving members 72 hours to review the bill.
The CR is coming together. Bipartisan work is ongoing. We're almost there. We worked really hard to achieve consensus on a bill that responsibly funds the government into March of next year.
If Congress doesn't pass a plan by the end of the week, the government may shut down. We'll continue to keep you posted. And the top Democratic leadership of the House Ag Committee is changing, with House Democrats removing Representative David Scott of Georgia as their senior Agriculture Committee leader. It comes after he received just 5 votes in Monday's influential steering panel vote. It's reported Scott has faced health issues this year. Now, yesterday, Representative Angie Craig of Minnesota was elected to serve as the ranking member of the committee. Craig indicated in part of her pitch to the steering panel that there were no other ranking members for Democrats from the Midwest. Craig saying in a statement on X that her focus will be on improving people's lives, not scoring political points, adding that they can strengthen the farm safety net and open the doors of opportunity to new and beginning farmers. Craig has been in Congress since 2019. HPAI is becoming a growing concern again among the nation's poultry flocks. Iowa's Department of Agriculture reporting 3 more outbreaks of highly pathogenic avian influenza in commercial poultry. That includes a layer flock in Sioux County, a turkey flock in Worth County, and a backyard mixed species flock in Monona County. Iowa has reported 8 recent HPAI outbreaks. Meanwhile, Michigan reporting an HPAI outbreak in a commercial poultry flock in Ottawa County, marking the state's first case in poultry since May. Some snow is on the way for some areas dealing with drought. Meteorologist Matt Engelbrecht has more on a system moving into the northern plains.
Yeah, coming up for our Wednesday, a weak clipper system initially. You can kind of see it, how the jet stream, the lines kind of shoot down here to the south. But the other piece of energy that we're going to be watching, this is going to be a reinforcing shot of some cold air for parts of the Midwest. So not a lot of moisture with that first one in terms of snow. There is going to be a good amount of rainfall locked up in this system for the East Coast and then back up here to the northeast to lay down a decent amount of snowfall with this first system. And then that reinforcing shot of some colder air starts to come through embedded with the jet stream Thursday, early in the morning, back up into the Dakotas, and you can kind of see the slide down here to the south. Once again, there's just not a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, so we're not expecting a major accumulation with any kind of snow back into Minnesota and Wisconsin, but there is a chance of some snowfall to come through the Great Lakes areas. So that's going to be Thursday night into early Friday morning with possibly some lake effect snow on the other side of it. And check out these critters enjoying some new fallen snow. The black-footed ferret conservation center in Carr, Colorado, sharing this video. The ferrets having a case of the snow zoomies in their outdoor enclosure. Looks like a lot of fun. I'll have more to your forecast coming up.
We're looking ahead to the start of a new year of trading. Michelle Rook joins us next with a preview of what to watch. And later, what it takes to grow and maintain those beautiful Christmas poinsettias in the country.
AgDay is brought to you by Pivot Bio. Protect yield potential with a new mode of action in nitrogen. See how Pivot Bio fits into your fertility plan at talknitrogen.com.
USDA taking a look at this year's vegetable and pulse crops, saying that extreme heat impacted the crops this year. It says in late July, temperatures reached 10 degrees or more above normal in parts of California's northern and central coasts, along with the Sacramento and San Joaquin valleys. As of last month, USDA's Risk Management Agency had earmarked more than $22 million for crop losses seen here in yellow, incurred by the state's vegetable and pulse producers over the summer, which is 27% more than the $17.8 million in heat-related payments allocated during that same time last year. It's also 67% more than the 5-year average. Now, overall, it says the fresh market vegetable sector across the country experienced a mixed year with some increases in grower prices for key crops, including lettuce, onions, carrots, and tomatoes due to unfavorable growing conditions, while production of dry peas, lentils, dry beans, and chickpeas was expected to increase this year. Usually this time of year, we see light volume when it comes to trading commodities, but what could the first of the year bring? AgDay's Michelle Rook discusses it with Rich Nelson of Allendale in Markets Now.
Rich Nelson with Allendale is joining us with markets. And Rich, let's talk a little bit about some of the seasonal tendencies that we see in the grain trade, especially through the end of the year when we have all this late holiday trade.
You know, that's a key issue for us right now, especially as we have the story we always kind of hear about with bears get Thanksgiving, but bulls get Christmas. That is generally true here for the grains. Generally, corn, soybeans, and wheat do have slightly higher prices going from Thanksgiving to Christmas. So that may be a factor to consider here in these next few weeks as well here.
So we are going to be watching South American weather through the end of the year, but really we're going to start watching it even more after the first of the year, aren't we?
Weather really matters as we go into that reproductive stage, which really for both Argentina and Brazil is really in that January, February timeframe. So weather really starting next month is a bigger issue. So though parts of Brazil have been lightly dry in some areas, parts of Argentina have been lightly dry in some areas, for the most part, these crops are doing just fine here for right now.
So, Rich, if that South American soybean crop confirms, do soybeans serve as an anchor on corn because corn has better fundamentals, or does corn help pull or hold soybeans together?
And that's a really good question here, especially as we have maybe a competing interest on top of that with maybe the trade story. If we do have a trade story against us on the U.S. side, it is mainly a soybean story rather than corn. So I do think that in this story right now, corn can probably divorce itself from soybeans if needed, especially with this much different and much better fundamental outlook right now.
And wheat is going to be in a transitionary phase as well, isn't it?
It sure is, especially as we go into this end of the year and a focus on January, February. We're going to see a sharp drop in exportable supplies out of both Ukraine and Russia. Both of them have heavy year-to-date exports, but those numbers are going to sharply drop off. In fact, I'm looking at the Russia story right now, January through June. They're going to see as much as 10 million tons lower than last year exports. So wheat really has a sharp change in this story, probably lined up with us next 1 to 2 months here.
Thanks for your analysis. As always, Rich Nelson, Allendale, and that is Markets Now. We'll have more AgDay coming up.
I want want to show you that precipitation forecast, because with this first system, some will be snow and then some will be rain depending on where you're located. So over the next 24 hours, and see not only that snowfall back up here to the northeast, but a good amount of rainfall back down here towards parts of Tennessee and to the south and to the southwest. The other part of this equation regarding what's going on in the jet stream, that's number one, and then this is going to be number two. And you can see how the precipitation forecast is on the lighter end, but this is all going to be snow in the Dakotas, Minnesota, as well as into Wisconsin, kind of streaming back here to the east and to the southeast. So between these two systems, you're looking at not only snowfall, rain through parts of the United States, but some help in regards to much needed rainfall in portions of the United States as well. So what this looks like from a jet stream perspective, this is on Wednesday. Now that first one comes through. It's really what we've been playing with most of this month, which is just kind of shallow troughs digging in and across the United States, resulting in quick bursts of some snowfall or even rain. And then on the other side of it, ridge of high pressure starting to develop. But this is actually good news. If we look at Saturday and Sunday, traveling in and across the United States and getting ready for Christmas, this should keep things relatively quiet Saturday, Sunday, and Monday with a big ridge building in. On the other side of that, while the weather will be quiet, it's also going to be warm as well. A good part of the nation, I'd say nearly 90 to 100% of the nation, is looking at a high percentage of above average temperatures across the United States. So starting on Sunday and going through most of next week. I think the warmest of the warm will actually be on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. Otherwise, we look at what's going on in the jet stream. Over the course of the next couple of days, the jet stream on Wednesday and into Thursday is going to keep these short waves coming through the United States with that ridge of high pressure starting to develop. Now there's going to be a good amount of rainfall coming into the west coast as another trough tries to develop. I think by the end of December into January, we're still looking at above average temperatures across the United States. We'll start off in Naff, Idaho. Partly cloudy, high around 42 degrees, low of 24. How about Naff, Virginia? Showers, high around 59, low of 37. And if you got two Naffs, you need a third one as well in Louisiana. Morning thunderstorms, high of 64.
Ag Day is brought to you by Winfield United. Deliver a 5.7 bushel per acre average yield increase in corn and 3.7 bushels per acre in wheat compared to fungicide alone. Masterlock Adjuvant, built for it. Learn more at winfieldunited.com.
The National Pork Board and Pork Checkoff continue to work on a new marketing campaign it hopes to launch in 2025. In the vein of its iconic Pork the Other White Meat campaign from the 80s, leaders hope to reach a new generation of pork consumers with an updated and re-energized message. The organization has spent the last several years gathering consumption information, purchasing habits, and product preferences in order to better target new marketing materials. Now, this campaign will be bigger than just fresh cuts like pork chops.
This time we're going to put the whole hog together. We're going to market everything. Use our processed pork to support our fresh pork and really to introduce us to younger consumers who are aware of us and who engage with us on the process side. Like who has pizza without pepperoni on it, right? So take that knowledge of our product and then say, hey, if you like this, how about that?
While research shows consumers love the variety of flavors and ways to get pork, younger generations don't use it as often as older generations. Now, the team says they're hoping this new campaign can help connect the dots and show how pork can fit into their everyday lifestyle.
And there are more air fryers now than coffee pots in America, and pork performs well in an air fryer, right? So, and it's fast, right? So then you get convenience, you get, something that younger generation already has the appliance, they're familiar with using it, and we just have to say, hey, have you thought about putting pork in it?
The team also has included input from every stage in the industry, from producers to packers, in order to help build what they hope is a national brand umbrella. Now, the campaign will have a soft launch in March and roll out fully in May, just as grilling season kicks off.
This time we are going to be a digital forward campaign because everybody is on their phone and everybody is connected socially. We can tailor messages to them and target them effectively with the message and how they want to be, what their concerns are, what their needs are, what their wants are from the pork, industry, and we can talk to them almost as individuals. And that digital campaign is something that we've never done before. We used to be really, focused on print and traditional media, but really that targeted marketing campaign where, every time you open your phone, every time you go to a social app and they have content that's geared just for you. That way we can answer consumers when they're looking for what they want for dinner, when they're looking for recipes, when they're thinking about, what's for dinner or what's for lunch. We can be there with the answer, which is always pork.
To learn more, visit porkcheckoff.org. They're known as the flower of Christmas, but they can be a little tricky to grow and care for. Look at some beautiful Christmas poinsettias and a Texas family helping to spread their holiday cheer. Next.
Ag Day is brought to you by the Pork Checkoff. Your Pork Checkoff dollars are hard at work building a bigger appetite for pork right here at home. One of our main goals is to encourage younger generations to join us at the table. Visit porkcheckoff.org/radio to see how we're reaching this new audience.
It's a plant that just says Christmas whenever you see it. We're talking about poinsettias, and the Texas Farm Bureau introduces us to the Jones family, who works year-round to bring these festive plants along with Christmas trees to the Houston area.
It's always fun this time of year. Christmas is my favorite season. I just enjoy being able to work in the greenhouse with all these poinsettias. My name is Evan Jones. I'm the production manager here at Spring Creek Growers in Waller, Texas. Poinsettias is probably on the smaller side of things of what we do. We grow a lot of other things, but poinsettias is kind of that special plant that just kicks off the holiday season. We've been doing it for many years.
Our roots go back to Christmas trees. Our facility in Magnolia is 30 acres. It's original family property that Carla, my wife, her family had back almost 100 years.
The original farm was my grandparents' property, and they primarily grew produce, vegetables for the Houston market. My parents were aging, and we thought with Bob's experience in horticulture that we could find a crop to continue.
With our short time in Southern California, we saw Christmas tree farms out there choosing cut operations where families go out and cut their own Christmas tree. So when we moved back from California, in 1991, we planted our first Christmas trees. Later in early 2000, we started growing flowering plants.
We started a couple of greenhouses at our other location where the Christmas trees are. It was probably about less than half an acre. Now we're on 60 acres with about 10 acres of production. So a good poinsettia, what we really look for is just strong stems, upward kind of V-shaped, about 6 bracts.
A bract is what we consider like the flower stem, if you're kind of looking at it. So we aim for at least 5, what looks like a flower. The actual flower is this little spot inside. To most people, they would consider, this circular area the flower. So we're kind of looking for about 5 of those that are completely solidly red.
We receive cuttings from all over the world. It's a challenging period with an unrooted cutting, which is basically a piece of the plant that's been removed. They're put in propagation, we call it. We will go through the process of putting roots on that plant. Then they will actually be transplanted to the green pot that you see here. From there, the process is really watching the cultural side of it, which is fertility, water, light. We'll take that individual cutting and we'll actually pinch the top of that plant out, and that will create what we call breaks, which are side branches that will come out, and that's how you get your 5 to 6 individual bracts on the plant.
The harvest season is super fast. We will move about 30,000 poinsettias in 8 to 10 days. It's very full here, and in about a 3-day time window, what we're looking at here will be completely gone and empty.
Most of these poinsettias will go to churches and fundraisers.
Fundraising with the poinsettias gives us an opportunity to really participate in what's happening in our hyper-local community. When they get into the home, the first thing you need to do is just unsleeve it very, very carefully. Poinsettias can be a little prone to breakage, so we just want to really treat them with care. We also put a foil pot covering over it just to kind of make it pretty and decorative for the holiday season, but they don't like to be sitting in water. And so my best recommendations is to water them about every other day or so. but make sure when you're watering, just take it over to the sink and let the water drip out the bottom of those drain holes. And once the drops are kind of done, then you can go ahead and put the poinsettia sleeve back on.
They love heat. They do not like the cold, and the best spot for them is a windowsill to get some sunlight, but keeping them in about 70 degrees is their sweet spot.
I love what we do. I love the clients that we serve. I love the community that we're a part of here. Just really enjoy, living out that legacy that we have.
And our thanks to the Texas Farm Bureau for sharing that story with us. And that's all the time we have this morning. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day out in Farm Country.